What's going on, y'all? It's David or Dawhveed, back with the third entry of my best guns for flak series. Today I'm covering the best 5 assault rifles that I think you should be using for flak right now. A couple of these might surprise you, but I have a feeling that you already know most of the ones that are up here. If you're new to this series of mine, for each gun I briefly cover what it does, why it's on this list, what kind of build you should use for it, where to find it, and what variations and anointments that I recommend for it. So kicking off the list at the number 5 spot, I have the legendary Vladov assault rifle, the Dictator. Being an assault rifle, you would think that this gun is best at like medium to long range, but this gun excels at close range. The way that the Dictator works is that it normally shoots out a fan of 3 projectiles, but once you enter the bipod mode, you double the projectiles to 6 or even 7 in a wider spread. This seems like it'd be great at mowing down like multiple enemies at a range, but it's so much better up close where you can hit the target with every single projectile. This gun goes great with Flak's the power inside skill where you can just fade away or rack attack up close and just blow through a boss. For that reason I recommend either a crit build or like a stalker or green tree build. If you're looking to farm for the Dictator, head on over to the Guts of Carnivora on Pandora and take down the Agonizer boss, which thematically was actually one of my favorite bosses in this game because I just love Penn and Teller. I recommend you farm for the ×6 variation for the most DPS, and as for the anointments, I recommend the Rack Slag one, the Elemental Magazine ones, the 100/125 weapon damage ones, the Gamma Burst one, or even the Terror extra projectile one. For the anointments on each gun, I will only be leaving the screen up for just a little while, so make sure to pause if you need to on these. Coming up next at the number 4 spot, I have the legendary Torg assault rifle, the Laser Sploder. This gun is one of the higher elemental damaging ARs for flak. It's a nice mix of splash damage and elemental damage, and it goes a pretty long range. Its flexibility from coming in every element, its high damage, and its easy to hit targeting are what gave it its spot on this list. I definitely recommend this gun on some sort of like Megavore build because it's so much easier to not have to aim for the crit spot to land a crit. And this gun is great at continuous fire to warrant using Megavore and leave no trace. If you saw my Stormcaller build with the Kill of the Wisp, this gun can be used as a substitute for the Kill of the Wisp in that build, and it should work out almost exactly the same. I'll make sure to leave a link to that video in the description as well as the upper right corner of your screen. If you're looking to farm for a Laser Sploder of your very own, head on over to the Tazendir Ruins on Necrotafeo and fight the pair of Celestro and Atomic. It has a chance to drop from killing only Celestro here, so if you're farming for it, you only really have to kill him. Aside from the elemental variations, this gun can come as a normal ×1 or a double penetrating ×2 variant. Here is where you'll have to choose what you want because they are both good in their own right. The ×1 variant is great for sustaining DPS over a longer period of time with things like Megavore and even the Terror ammo regen build, and the ×2 variant is better for blowing up things as fast as you can, but you do have to spend time reloading. As for the anointments that I recommend, the Rack Slag one definitely if you want to burst things down, the elemental ones to do multi-elemental damage, the standard 100/125 ones, the Gamma Burst one, or some sort of Terror one if you're using the ×1 variant for a Terror build. Coming up at the middle of my list at the number 3 spot, I have another legendary Torg assault rifle, the Alchemist. For those of you that aren't familiar with this gun, it shoots out stickies that deal shock damage that can electrocute on impact, and then when the stickies detonate, they deal fire damage that can burn. Also, when firing, you take shock damage each time you shoot. This might seem like a minor problem, but it's actually what makes this gun so impactful. If you run the Transformer shield, firing this gun refills your shield each time it's fired. Although this gun isn't just on this list for its useful gimmicks, it also does incredible damage itself. It can be used to light up a boss with stickies and explode them all at once. Or you can take it with you mobbing and stick multiple enemies at a time and then watch them all explode simultaneously. This gun pairs really well with Flak's fadeaway ability and the power inside trees, so you can decide whether you want to run a crit build for mobbing or a full sticky burst build for bossing. If you're looking to farm for an Alchemist, head on over to the Jacob's Estate on Eden 6 and take down the Heckle and Hyde pair. I don't believe this gun comes in very important different variations and they all should spawn incendiary, so you're really just looking for the anointments here. I recommend the Elemental Mag ones, the 100/125 ASE ones, and either the crit damage terror or the extra projectile terror anoints. Rounding out the tail end of my list, I actually have two that share the number 2 spot because they're fairly similar, the Aleutians Call and the Royale's Call legendary assault rifles by Vladov and Jacobs. These two ARs hold a special spot on my list because I picked them up on my very first playthrough of the game around like level 20 and wound up using them until the very end of my playthrough. They each have a special ability where if you crit an enemy, the bullets ricochet to other enemies and you get ammo returned directly into your magazine. This effect has no cooldown since it's a special ability for the gun, so with Flak's fadeaway ability you can pretty much fire infinitely without ever running out of ammo, all while doing massive DPS to everything. I like using the Royale's Call for boss killing since the damage is a bit higher, but I like using the Aleutians Call for mobbing since I can spread the status effects easier with a higher rate of fire. I just recently came out with a build called the Cryomancer Flak, where I use a cryo redistributor with an increased status effect anoint to freeze everything. You can very well replace that gun with the Cryo Aleutians Call and get an extremely beneficial result. Also, the aforementioned Stormcaller build can work fantastically with one of these call weapons because you virtually never have to reload, so your banjo just procs non-stop. Definitely go check out the build guide videos for those amazing flock builds in the description below. To farm for these two, the best way would be to head on over to the Slaughterstar 3000 arena on Promethea and take down the final bosses there. The red boss can drop the Royans and the blue boss can drop the Aleutians. Alternatively, you can also find the Aleutians Call from giving Crazy Earl ludograms. As for variations, I think that the best element for the Aleutians is the cryo and the best for the Royans is the radiation. Those are just personal preferences because the Aleutians is great at freezing enemies and radiation is just like my favorite element in this game. As for the recommended anoints, definitely find one with rack slag and also one with some form of elemental magazine. Then if you want, the standard 100/125 ASE ones won't hurt and the gamma burst ones really work. You're probably wondering, well, if the Aleutians Call is at the number 2 spot, what is at the number 1 spot? Well, my final spot on this list is the legendary COV assault rifle, the Zaitsev's Eruption. This gun is so astonishingly underrated that it drives me crazy. It's true, it does have like a certain niche, but the easy debuff that this gun brings to the table is irreplaceable. So the Eruption is a COV gun, and as with most COV guns, it breaks when it overheats. When this one breaks, it launches out homing projectiles that each have a stackable debuff on them. I won't go over the details too much because I covered the entire debuff formula on my video where I debuffed up to 1040% in debuffs, but this gun can basically combine with the Rack's Leg debuff and other things like its piss to debuff the enemies into oblivion. The best part is that the debuff animation can be animation cancelled, and in that video I went over several amounts of ways that you can do that. Some of them are like by grenade cancelling or action skill cancelling with rack attack. If you're playing with other people very often with Flak, I definitely recommend farming for one of these bad boys to have with you at all times because it's so incredibly effective the more people you have. You can find the Eruption as a drop from the Raging Titan, who is the final boss in the Slaughter arena. When farming for this, you can actually kill him before killing the rest of the COV enemies on the final wave, and then die to fail and then restart from the first wave of the final round, essentially giving you another time to kill him and get it to drop. This can be done as many times as you want if done correctly, and it's probably the easiest way to farm for this. Alternatively, you can just farm Wotan like I do, since the takedown is just fun and like a challenging way to get gear. This gun should come in all elements. I think that the radiation one is the best for damage, while the fire one coming in second, but for the CC I definitely recommend the cryo version. For annoyance, I recommend the 100% rack slag one for the synergy with the Eruption special ability, and the standard 100/125% ASE ones work if you're using this as like your DPS gun. And that, my friends, is going to wrap it up for my top 5 assault rifles list for Flak. If you liked the video, please make sure to go rack attack that thumbs up button because it helps my channel a ton and I appreciate the heck out of you for it. If you would like to chat with me and my growing community every day and come be a part of this, then come on over to my Discord server where myself and several others love to chat and share items for each other across all platforms. If you enjoyed this series and are left wanting more, make sure to let me know in the comments below and go gamma burst that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on my future videos. I'll be continuing the series and releasing the top 5 SMGs to use for Flak really soon, so keep your eyes peeled. That's it for me, and as always, thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll check you all in the next video. See ya!